Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Being Human. I'm Ethan, Donovan Eckersley. We're excited to be here, excited to share. Over the last couple of weeks and months, or like the last month, I feel like we've experienced a lot of really beautiful things. Vision Fast. I was vision fasting, you were supporting Vision Fast, and it's a pretty big passage of right, I think, for the both of us in ways. And Dono's done multiple beforehand as well. Just lots of change, man. It's like every time, I feel like every time we shoot a podcast, it's like we're different people who shoot the podcast. I think you were saying yesterday too of like it was like 6 months ago when we shot the first one, and who we are now are like different people from where we were.
And we just launched, and so it seems kind of weird, you know?
Yeah, it seems really weird. And I think I think it's beautiful, man, because I think that goes into this episode today, you know, like the path of awakening and how eventually you get to the place where it's just like it's always changing and you're always changing and you're always growing and you're okay with that.
Yeah.
You know, and I think in this episode we really want to kind of highlight and take a deep dive into that path of awakening, because it can be pretty tumultuous, like we're also talking about yesterday, of like when we're both in it, we both had suicidal thoughts. It was pretty heavy and dark. Like when you're really going through like the dark night of the soul, or really like the tumultuous points of life, or you're really beginning to look at the things in your life that have shaped you and molded you and impacted you, and you're feeling those emotions again for the first time, and you're feeling actually like the impact of how that impacted you as a little kid and how that unfolded for you. And I think it'd just be really good to kind of like take somebody through like that journey, you know? So it's like no matter where you are, whoever's listening to this, whoever's watching this, like no matter where you are on the journey, we're just going to kind of take it through of like, what is the path of awakening? What does that lead to? Where's that going? And what does it actually mean to awaken as well? How's that feel for you?
Yeah, I like it.
Nice. Yeah.
Sounds like a good journey.
Cool. Well, where do we want to begin with that? Do we want to begin just by saying like, what does it mean to awaken, and kind of do our best to, like, I'm not even sure what that means, you know, like I haven't, like I was thinking about it even before, and like, what does that mean to awaken, you know? But I think it'd be good to like I know what that means, because it means an experience. It's an experiencing of the world in a different way than what we were. People have labeled it in many different ways of like moving from reactive consciousness to maybe more of an intuitive level where one is more in tune with the world around them. But I think it might be good to start there. Like, what does it mean to awaken? What does it mean to wake up?
Yeah, I think that's the best place to start and take it through the whole journey and to this, not ending, but where we are now. Here.
Yeah. So I guess like a question for you that I would ask is like, what was it like for you to awaken, and how did you know that you were awake, or what did it mean for you? How did you like, from the moment, like, yeah, like what happened that kind of like woke you up in a way, and what did you wake up to? What does it mean? Like, what do you wake up to when you awaken?
I think for me, when it began, I was reaching the end of my oil field career, which I was in for 18 years. And I began to feel different levels of discomfort in my body because what I was doing wasn't aligned with the true nature of who I am. And I didn't want to feel that anymore. It's not that I was pushing it away or anything like that. I was just noticing this discomfort in my body and got curious as to what that, you know, what's being communicated to me through this discomfort. And decided to make a change in my life because I wasn't happy. I wasn't fulfilled. And, you know, they say that the guru you don't find the guru finds you. And it just so happened on some level, that's what happened with me. I was putting that call out into the universe, and the universe answered with a teacher of mine, who is still a teacher of mine today, and a really good friend. And at that point, I didn't know what I was awakening to. It was, I had no idea what I was awakening to. I really didn't know. But I was curious enough about what that might be as to go and do whatever it took to explore more of that and to get to know that. And ultimately, I believe what that is I think I alluded to it earlier, is just this more pure, innocent, natural me. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like I think what you alluded to is like really, really like interesting. Of like sounds like an identity crisis. You know, you went through an identity crisis, and like of who am I? Like when you transition out of like the pipeline in that way, it's like okay, like and you're starting to feel the discomfort because it sounded like it wasn't necessarily like in harmony with you anymore. But you like didn't know what was going on. It's fun because like I don't think you do. You know, I feel like part of the awakening is like you get to a place in life where like it first begins, where it's like you know that there's something more, and you know that you can do something more with life, or you feel some sort of pull or call that there must be more to what I'm experiencing. It's almost kind of like a knocking at the door, but you're not sure what that knocking is, you know, like you have no clue what that is. But I feel like that knocking's there, you know, or it's like, or I feel like it comes through like a moment of like discontentment with life, of like, is this it? You know, is this really all that life is? Is it just this and going through these actions or these motions, or maybe I've done what everybody has wanted me to do. I've done what my parents want me to do. I've done what I think I wanted to do. I've gotten kind of like success in that way, whatever that looked like. Or maybe I went to school, got a job, got a family, got kids, did the do. And then it's like, you get there and you're like, oh, this isn't it, you know? Like, that's not it either, you know? You're like, what the heck? And yeah, and it's like, it's frustrating. And I think that at that moment, you can either choose to like naturally go down the path of awakening, or you can resist that call. And I feel like if you resist it until you do choose to make that path or like go down that place. And or there's a different path to take, which is like the suffering in a sense of like identity crisis, or like a big change happens in your life that kind of shakes you up in a way, that shakes up how you were seeing the world, to like really open you of like, oh wow, there's a different way of doing this, you know, there's a different way of being. Like this big, maybe it's a loss of a person, like it's all just coming, like loss of a person can radically change. Like if you lose your mom or you lose your dad, you start to feel feelings that maybe you haven't felt before in your life, or maybe you've pushed the feelings away, but now they're coming up. Or like debt or disease, like disease I think can do that too, of like you hear people as well that experience like cancer, and then they have the moment of like radically changing their life from that moment forward because of that disease. It like shifted them out and made them think that, oh shit, life is temporary, it's not forever. Whoa, okay. It's like this big moment of like, oh, whoa.
It's time to start living.
Yeah. It's almost,
I haven't been alive.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think that's actually a good thing. It's like, I think that's what it comes back to actually, is that aliveness of like, it's like the recognition that I'm not alive. I've been living, but I'm not alive. I'm not actually alive and here and living life and really like giving it my all. I'm kind of just living and going through the motions in some way, kind of like autopilot. For me, it was very similar, of like just the identity crisis of like, who am I? I went from being a national team polo player to finding out I'm going to be the single father. And that period of time woke me up, like, to letting go of the sport. That was everything I was. That's how I got attention. That's how I got validation. That's how I got approval. That's how I got everything in my life. I built my whole identity upon that and being that player in the world. Like that's how I sought everything. And to losing that, to then questioning, who am I? You know, who am I, and why am I the way that I am? How did I get to be the way that I am? What is happening? What's this thing up here what is this thing that thinks? How do I move in this way? How do I walk, like talk in this way? It reminds me of like the first time that I meditated. I sat down, like I shared this with you once before, like I sat down for 10 minutes, I set a timer on for 10 minutes, and within the first 5 minutes of meditating, just following my breath, closing my eyes, I was up in the kitchen eating chicken. And then I went from there to like coming back, realizing I was eating chicken, being like, what the hell am I doing? I'm supposed to be meditating with my eyes closed. I can't sit down for 10 minutes and be still. And then to going back and sitting down, and then only a couple minutes later to find myself peeing at the toilet and being like, whoa, I'm supposed to be meditating right now. I can't sit still for 10 minutes without just automatically reacting to what's happening up here. So it's just like a big questioning of who am I? Like who is this person that you are, you know? Who's the being that's looking back at you? And I feel like when you go through that process, like what do you awaken to? You know, I think you awaken to yourself in, yeah, like your spirit, God, source, the universe. You move. And I think like an awakened person moves and just sees the world in just a different way, like a very different way, instead of them seeing themselves as separate from everything, or feeling like they don't belong, or feeling like they're not connected, or any of those things. It's like they begin to transition into feeling those ways no matter where they go. You know, there's like that separation almost disappears, and they begin to feel at one with everything around them. And so, yeah.
So I guess I'm curious, because there's many different like paths that one can walk, and many different modalities that one can use as far as daily practices that help with, or that aid with the journey of awakening. Like once one comes to realize that we aren't our thoughts, there is something more to us. It's like, what did it look like for you? What modalities did you use that allowed you to come to quiet that mind and be more at rest, so that you could actually sit in meditation for 20 minutes rather than going to the kitchen and eating chicken and then going to take a pee? What has allowed you, I think it's a good thing to share, so that, you know, people can implement those things in their practices as well. And how often, you know, what does that look like for you?
Yeah.
You know, how committed of a practice has it been? How dedicated how dedicated does one have to be to kind of like breaking that cycle?
Yeah. I think we even alluded to it, like when we were in conversation a couple days ago, of like how there's the time like when you first are starting to awaken, like in that way, or like you're beginning to become aware that maybe there's a different way of seeing the world, maybe there's a different way that you can be, of like how you got to discipline yourself like crazy, like during that time of like you really got to commit to I don't like the word habits, I really don't, because I think a habit is done unconsciously, and it means that I'm not really here. And I feel like part of it is really disciplining yourself to a practice, you know? Like meditation was huge for me. Like that was probably one of the biggest ones, man, was meditation. That was probably the biggest habit per se, or the biggest tool, the biggest practice that just began to move me along that train quickly. And I would just challenge myself of like, okay, like the first time I meditated was 10 minutes. Literally 10 minutes, and those two experiences happened. And then I just kept at it. I kept at it like day after day after day. Can I sit with myself for longer periods of time? And it turned into like 10 minutes, 10 minutes, 10 minutes. And slowly I was able to just like sit with myself, and 10 minutes became comfortable. It was like, cool, I got that in the bag. Now let's move up to 12 minutes, then move up to 15, move up to 20, move up to 30. And I pushed it a little bit far. Like I would say I've like moved in like 3 hours and 4 hours and 5 hours and 6 hours and days, then like multiple days in a row. Like I've really pushed, but I just wanted it. I was in the place where like I had to figure myself out, you know, like I had to figure it out, just because I only had 9 months till my son was born. And so like I really had to go, and I really had like, it was just the prime conditions to like, okay, figure this out, because like you got a son and you're gonna figure this out before your son's born. Little did I know that I'm still figuring it out, but.
Well, and so
Yeah.
meditation
Yeah.
was the first thing that got you into it.
For sure.
Or that helped you to quiet down,
Yeah.
and begin to realize and understand who you actually are.
Yeah.
And so moving forward, what other practices have you implemented into that supplemented the meditation?
Yeah.
That has allowed you to come to peace?
Yeah. To be honest, I think it was like finding mentors. I think that'd be like, it's not really like a practice. It is a practice, you know, find somebody that you can learn from, like, and really learn from that person. It's like finding somebody that knows more than you do. Like I remember, like I sat down, I was like, okay, like I remember seeing people on YouTube that were like really happy. Like they seemed really happy, really joyful. They were teaching things that I was like, I don't know what this is. And it was like, that wasn't my life at that time. So I was like, how can I be around people who know more than I do, and who just know more than I do? And I feel like that was a really good practice, because that practice led me to like other practices of like looking at my story, you know, and really like, I feel like that's a practice, you know, that's a tool at first, is like taking inventory of everything that you've ever experienced in life, like really with a fine-tooth comb, looking at all of that stuff, you know, going through your story and writing down every single moment And as much as you can recall. And it was like when I first did that, I could recall only a little bit. The little bit grew to a little bit more and a little bit more and a little bit more and a little bit more until soon I got this massive picture of like, this is my story and this is my life. Like, wow, I experienced these things. I experienced sexual abuse. I experienced like different traumatic moments that shaped me, you know? And they weren't just like the big things like rape, molestation, any of those things. Like those things happen, yes. But like, I think trauma is also something like the little moments. It's like the little things that impact us, of like my mom or like my dad coming in and just getting angry at us, you know? It's like that impacted my body in a particular way. Me feeling alone for most nights of crying myself to sleep, like that impacted me in a particular way. Me being at school, being made fun of or being bullied, or like getting called a watermelon head. Like there's a girl that called me a watermelon head. Man, that impacted me in a particular way. Like I felt so much shame from that in that moment. So it's like really going back to like doing almost like just with a fine tooth comb, going through every moment.
Yeah,
That, like
step 4, 12 steps, Alcoholics Anonymous.
yeah. Which I think is like, that's vital to the path of awakening, man. It's like really beginning to understand, who are you? This being here, how did you get to be who you are? Because like who you are in this moment is an accumulation of everything you've ever experienced. Everything that you're doing and acting, all the ways in which you're acting, all the ways in which you're thinking, all the ways in which you're being in the world are simply just an effect, simply just a symptom of something happening in life. Like when you get strep throat, the symptoms are sore throat, pus on the throat, cough, runny nose, fever. But it's a streptococcus bacteria that actually causes that to happen in your body. So it's like all the ways that you're acting right now are just a symptom of something. And it's just beginning to get curious of like, why? Like what's going on? You know, like what's happening? Where is this pattern coming from when you're in a relationship that you just leave and cheat on somebody, you know? Or where, for me, it's like, where does this pattern come when I'm in a relationship? I just get really like avoidant and I want to push away all of a sudden. I go all in really quickly, but then I'm like, all of a sudden I just want to withdraw and I want to push away because I felt that closeness, but then it's like, oh, am I worthy of that closeness? It's like, where and why are those things there? And beginning to kind of like grow an understanding of that. Because I feel like when we do that, we then can see this beautiful picture and we can feel the emotions. I think that's the most important thing. I think it's like on the path of awakening, it's really beginning to understand why you are the way that you are through going back and looking at your story, but not just also just intellectualizing it, but like actually like going back to that little boy or girl that you once were and how did that feel? Like how did that actually impact them? How did it impact you? Like what was it like to be that little boy and experience that from your dad or from your mom and feel those emotions or feel that fear, or feel that shame or feel that sensation in your body? And in like almost like cleansing that out, it's like you're creating space. So it's almost like, I guess in Freedom 22, man, I call it the excavation phase. Like I call that the excavation period where it's like you really do a deep dive excavation into your being and your body and your mind and everything that you are so that you can begin to create space. Because I think once space is created, then there's room.
Well, it's now like the beans, like that excavation. I like that because now it's like things inside of us are starting to like receive light. They're starting to receive air. They're getting aerated. It's like coming to the surface now. It's like, I can breathe, all these parts and pieces that make us up.
Yeah.
And that was going to be my next question to you. But so what that question is going to be is how did that process feel for you? You know, throughout all that, like, well, that excavation process, that turmoil, that digging up the, you know, opening that closet and having the skeletons just fall out. What did that really feel like? But before we answer that question, excuse me, much the same as you, for me, that like the practices that I began to implement, it required a total commitment, a total like discipline beyond belief in the very beginning. You know, like you and I both for like 3 years or something like that in the wintertime, we're chopping a hole in a lake in an ice every day, jumping in that Wim Hof and hoo-ha after we got out, you know, 5 to 7 to 8 minutes, just freezing cold every single day, cold showers, journaling, reading books. Like I did anything and everything that I could because what I wasn't doing, or what I was doing, wasn't working. I wasn't doing anything, really.
Yeah.
It was when I started to develop a routine where it actually allowed me to drop out of my mind and into my body, whatever that was, right? A beautiful little movement practice, spending more time in nature, as mentioned, journaling, right? It's just anything that would allow me to quiet down and be more in my heart, so that I could then from that space begin to question, like you were talking about. Like, we begin to question. It's an inquiry into the self of, okay, what's really going on here? And that was hard work. I went at that for like 4 years, 5 years. I mean, it still requires a level of discipline every day for me to simply come home to myself and to meet and greet the day and myself in it, where everything's just okay. Here I am, beautiful, at peace, happy, content, open to receive, accepting it all. And I think that's a big part of it too, like, that we can go to after, like, how did that feel? Because I want to know how that process was for you. Because for me, it was fucking devastating. Like you mentioned in the beginning, like, there was times when we both experienced suicidal thoughts. You know, thankfully we didn't act on those thoughts, but like, I can imagine we're not the only ones who have gone through this awakening process, as difficult as it is, where, you know, we're being dragged down. Like, the only thing that we can do is fall down on the ground or kneel down on the ground and weep to God, like, what is happening? And really be in that process, knowing that we're like, this is it. And it is okay. Like, yeah, so how was
Did that bring up emotion for you in that moment?
like right now?
Yeah.
Yeah, it did bring up emotion. It was like, my body's actually shaking right now. My legs are shaking because
Your jaw was starting to wiggle.
Was it?
Yeah, a little bit.
Because it's hard.
Yeah.
It's hard to surrender to life. Like, that's in my being. Things just wanted to be let go of. They wanted to move. They've been static and frozen for so long that there was literally nothing else I could do. Creator is just like, wham, get down there and wail. Wail to God. For me, I would say, like, well, right smack dab in the middle of that awakening process, Spirit is like, it's time to teach you how to grieve. Because I went through that 12-step program. I did, you know, and multiple times. I didn't just go through it once. I went through it in rehab for sure. And then when I really awakened, it was like, oh shit, there's a whole nother level to this. And so through, you know, somatic experiencing therapy, through plant medicine, through different rites of passages, ceremonies, things like that, those were all points of inquiry. And then it came to the point where it was like, okay, now you know who you were. It's time to accept this. How are you going to accept this, Donovan? Wow, you're going to have to forgive yourself. How do I forgive myself? First, you got to grieve. You got to grieve your entire existence. And for me, man, it was like when I got triggered into that grieving process. Triggered's a funny word. When I was summoned into that grieving process through different things that had happened in my life, I literally grieved every day for 16 months straight. It was the most wild experience in my life. I did not think I was going to come out on the other side. I couldn't but I had faith. And that's all I could have was faith. And still, this is jumping ahead a little bit, but I will say that I actively grieve. I don't know about every single day, but pretty close, man. Grieving has been a big part of my awakening process. And it wasn't until then when I could begin to, after I emptied out all of that stuff, offered it all up to the gods and deities of the earth and the skies and all the things, that I could begin to fill myself with all the things that really nourish me. I had to give it all up first. And yeah, man, it was devastating. And at the same time, reflecting back on it now, like the courage, man, the bravery, like to be able to do that, to surrender in that way and just weep and weep and weep and reach out for help to, you, all my friends, whoever, right? And just, oh, man, what a process. So it feels like absolute hell, man. And again, reflecting back on it, how beautiful to allow myself to experience that, to allow myself to experience the fullness of life, which we'll get into later, eventually led me and you to just being fully alive. And so it's scary. It's everything. It's frustrating. It's all of those, so-called negative emotions. It doesn't feel good. But looking back, I'm so grateful. It was the most beautiful process of my life. And for everybody that played a part in it, thank you so much for holding me, for loving me, for supporting me, and just for accepting me for who I was and am. And it's just amazing. And so I want to know what it felt like for you, man. Tell me a little bit about it, because like people need to know. People need to know, like, I think when we share our experiences in this way, it's like we begin to realize that we're not alone. And that's huge. It's like, you're gonna go through it, man. You're gonna go through it no matter what. So here it is.
Yeah, buckle up.
Yeah, buckle up.
Buckle up.
And remember, I got you.
Yeah.
I got you.
Yeah.
So what was that like for you,
man?
Man?
First I want to comment, man, there's lots of cool parts in there, lots of cool experiences, and I think it's cool to like pull those out of like the path, on the path of awakening, to just highlight those, like you talked about, like you did that stuff through rehab, you owned the story through rehab, but it sounded like it wasn't as deep as what it was, like it wasn't as deep the second time when you went through and you grieved it, like, yes, it was that profound at that time. And it made me think of like, you can know that stuff, and it can almost like, it takes a knowing of like how things affected you, and then it takes a slowing down, almost like an opening of like, okay, how did they, like, what's coming up for me in my body? Like, how did those emotions and that energy, and how did the feelings kind of land in my body, and then processing it that way. Of like, we can process it intellectually, and I think that that's wonderful. And not to say that that's what you did, but it was just like, it was cool to highlight of like, it takes time to open. It takes time to open up and begin to build a connection with your body as well. And like, what is this thing? What is the sensation that I feel in my stomach all of the time? What, like, even if people are checking right now, like, what do you feel in your body? Like, tune in. Is your jaw tight, or your shoulders, like, how are your shoulders? Are they up top? Or how's your belly? We so quickly lose that, and we don't carry that awareness with us. We just get up and we just do the thing after thing after thing without really tuning in. And just that opening process to really let everything go. It's like you're being asked to grieve, which is just let everything that you have collected over the course of your life in your body, let it go, because it is not yours, And that's it's a God just pinning you, man. He's just pinning you down, just like beating you up, like, but it's all just everything that you picked up throughout your entire experience being human, And it's just like, if we don't do that, That's what leads to disease. That's what leads to cancer. That's what leads to anxiety. That's what leads to depression. That's what leads to all the shit that we experience on the planet, the war, everything. And if we are to go through the process of awakening and feel that and not distract ourselves by being busy and doing things, it's like,
and those things will happen.
yes,
Those things will happen.
Yes.
But I love what you're saying. It very much is, and I didn't really speak about it, so I'm glad you brought it up. It very much is a somatic experience. It is an whole body experience. It did begin for me psychologically.
Yeah,
That's how I was trying to understand.
Yes.
And then it's like, okay, that's one part of it. That's one level. And then it's like, okay, that's the hours and hours and hours of somatic work. And there's different kinds of somatic work. And I still do it today, be it dance, be it, whatever. But it's like, okay, it's not just about the mind. It's bringing the mind down into its actual resting place as the servant to love and being in the body and allowing that, all those tensions to just fall away.
Yeah, which I love, like the tensions of like the reason why your body was tense is because of those energy, is because of that energy, is because of the emotion, is because of all of those things that you're holding on to, man. Like even before this process, dude, I couldn't touch my toes. Like my body was rigid, my body was tight, my body was tense. And I didn't know it at the time, but that was because I was carrying things. I was holding on to things. And that's my body's way of holding that pattern. It sounds far out, but that is how that is held in the body. And the unworking of that took time. It took years. It took the meditation, took the dedication, took the discipline, like you said, to be able to move it down into my body, to actually begin to let go of those feelings through the hell, through the metaphorical hell of like, you're really going into yourself and you're experiencing the feelings that are there. And it's crazy in there. And I'll allude to that in a minute. Like it's crazy in there. It's completely just chaos. It's chaos. Like you're really being with chaos and you're trying to find your way through that. And it's like, if we don't, I guess like we need to know first, you have to go through the psychological process because you have to know in order to then experience. Like knowing, like you have to be able to know something before you can actually experience that something.
Yeah, you woke up to it.
Yes. There's a dissonance between knowing and experiencing, and that's where the work comes in. That's where the discipline comes in to actually get you to the experience. It's like, I knew that I wasn't my thoughts in meditation. Even when I started to meditate, I'd say within, I heard it a lot, you're not your thoughts. So I knew it, but it took me 2 years to really get to the experience where I was sitting in meditation. I was like, I had the moment of like, holy smokes, man. Yeah, I am not my thoughts. I just saw it. I saw the thought. I saw it. It came and it went. And just like, wow, but that took 2 years to get there. And so it's like, this process takes time. And I think one of the things that I think at first, when I was first in it, well, I gave myself 9 months, right? Because that was when my son was going to be. So I rushed through it. I tried to get there as fast as I could, not realizing that the process actually takes time to unfold. And we'll be doing this on some level for the rest of our lives. And that process for me was, the hardest thing I ever did, man. It was the hardest thing I ever did. There's a YouTube video that I still got. It's on YouTube. It's on The Conscious Dad. And I remember shooting that video, man. And it was like, I was going through I was in a relationship with Cass for 6 months, which is my son's mother, but then I left that relationship. And that was like really the first time I was also alone ever in my adult life. And that really brought me just like into myself so deeply. And when I started to feel the sensations and connect to my body in that way, to begin to slow down, to begin to go from like doing and busy and always like moving and just being reactive to everything. And I began to like stop, man, everything just came up. Like, there was feelings and emotions and thoughts of
like a tidal wave.
Yeah, it's like it's a tsunami, and it just never, it doesn't end for a long time, It's just like, it's like you have a moment of clarity where you come up and you're just like, and then you're like going right back down. Then all of a sudden you're right back. And it's just that process over and over and over. And then I think eventually over time, it's like you make it through the hardest points, you make it through the toughest things. And I think what changes is like, it's like you just begin like, I was able to hold myself through those, to the point. Do you think someone's here? Nice. Oh yeah. I wonder if that's that lady who's rolling up. Nice. That's fun. That's okay.
Keep going.
Yeah. So, yeah, just like begin to hold myself through that. And I think that's what changes. It's like, it's not necessarily that the chaos doesn't end. It still continues. And I think it's going to continue for the rest of my life. But what's changed is that I can hold myself in it. Instead of like falling into just complete like chaos and hell and overwhelming and just this dark patterns of energy and just like all this stuff. It's like, I was able to just like breathe and hold myself through it.
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah, we got an Amazon delivery here, so just give us one moment here. We'll let this kind of come and go. You have a good day, dude. Yeah, bro, let's go. Let's go.
Hi, Viz.
Hi, Viz, baby. Can't be missed, yo. Can't be missed at all.
You see me?
Yeah. Now you do.
Yeah, man, I see you.
Yeah, I see you. I saw you from over there, dude. All the way over there. I saw you from that other island away, man. Mount Baker. You're on the top of Mount Baker right now. Yeah. Yeah, it was just like that, to get back in, like that path, man, like that process of like really awakening and really beginning to be with everything that was coming up and the emotions. Yeah, it was complete hell. Like that video was like, I was talking about how hard it was and how there's a part of me that wanted to kill myself. Like that's what it felt like, you know? It felt it's so heavy. And all that was like just the death of who I was.
Exactly.
You know, and it's just letting go of who I thought I was, letting go of every part of myself and all the attachments.
And that is like the first step. This awakening is the first step of the journey, man. Like the ceremony never ends.
Yeah.
But that like that first big death,
Yeah.
that ego death of who we thought we once were, when that gets completely obliterated,
Yeah.
it's scary, man.
Yeah.
Because now what?
Yeah. Yeah. Who are you now?
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah. Who are you know? And it's
Yeah.
like, and that's that feels out of control.
That's the next thing.
Yes. Yes. Is beginning to like, yeah, you move from like, this is who I think I am. This is who I am. To
Boom.
completely bare bones gone. You're stripped of all of that.
Yeah.
You know, it's like even in the Gospel of Thomas, it's like, Gnostic Gospel of Thomas, it's like, blessed are the poor in spirit. I might have butchered. Blessed is the poor in spirit. Yes, blessed is the poor in spirit. So it's like when you're at that point where it's like, this is who I think I am, and you give that up, then, and you're completely ripped naked and you're dissolved of everything and you don't know who you are, from that place you will be filled. From that place you then enter into, oh, this is who I am. I am all of it. I'm everything. I'm God, source, universe, creator, whatever we want to call that thing. I'm all of those pieces.
Except for we don't know. Like
Yes.
in that moment,
Yes.
we don't know. Now we're just open and exposed, and we're feeling this whole new level of vulnerability. Like we
Yeah.
don't even know what vulnerability is at that
Yeah,
point.
yeah.
Like maybe we're beginning to develop an understanding of the power of vulnerability
Yeah.
and you know, through the process of inquiry and all of those things. But now we're vulnerable. Now we're just like
Naked.
hard open, buck ass naked. It's like, woo.
Yeah.
Now what?
Yeah.
Now what?
Yeah.
I think this is where the conversation can go next.
Yeah.
It's like, so now what?
Yeah, what happens then? What happens when you're buck ass naked, or you're really hard open, you've been through that process, or you're going through that process, and you make it out of the end of the tunnel?
Yeah.
You know, I think that there's so many changes that happen in that tunnel, you know? You go from like, okay, identifying yourself with this is like the personality of I am this, I am the person, my name's Ethan, I do these things, I like these things. It's like, I am this. It's like you lose that and you begin to experience yourself anew, like in a totally different way. And the process of life just becomes creation of like, you get to create yourself to be anything you want to be in any moment, you know? And it's really just a letting go of that and like really tuning into life, really harmonizing yourself to life itself. And it's like, man, you move from like all of these thoughts in that process too of like, I'm not good enough, I'm not worthy, I'm not deserving. It's like that illusion or that, it's what Tara Brach says. What is that? The trance of
unworthiness.
Yeah, the trance of unworthiness. You move from the trance of unworthiness into like beginning to feel worthy, beginning to feel those feelings. And there's also comes a point when you realize that you're not those things too, and it's just a story that you've been telling yourself. But really, it's like on the other side of that, man. It's like, I think you meet God. Now, like, what is God, right? Like, we all have this idea. Like, some people get triggered when you mention that word, you know, because like we have this idea of what God is. We say that God's the big man in the sky that judges everybody. He's harsh, he's fearful, he's this and that. And that's not it. You know, that's not it. You know, it's actually understanding like what is that 3-letter word? Because that 3-letter word is simply just representing something. It's pointing to an experience of something, but what is that? Well, that is the oneness of everything. That is the complete beauty, bliss, and it's everything. There's nothing that it isn't. And I think like that path is beginning to awaken and seeing and opening your eyes of like, whoa, that bird that's over there that just flew up on the log, it's like, I am that bird. I am the tree, I'm the wind, I am everything around me. And it's not just a knowing of that, but an actual experience of that. Because for a long time, I think there was this illusion, at least for me, of like, oh, I don't belong in the world, I don't fit in anywhere. Like, it's just like poor me in those ways. And then through that awakening process, it got to the point where it's like, oh shit, I belong everywhere. I belong because I'm simply here, because I'm simply on this earth and my feet are on the ground, and I'm a human being, bro.
Yeah, I'm a creator being.
Yes.
I have been created, just like everything else has been phenomenally created or miraculously created. And it's eventually we come to the point where we realize that, and we begin to like step into our place, if you will, or we begin to dance with all of it. And then we I want to say play our part, but it's more than that. Like, but yeah,
it's a good way of putting it. Like we play our part, you know, like we
In
play
the
our part
whole.
in the whole and in the world, you know, in
Exactly.
the experience of that. And I think a good thing to talk about too is like love, you know, where does love come in the mix? Like, because I feel like God is love, you know, that 3-letter word God is really just another word for also the 4-letter word love, you know. And I feel like a big part of it is like, once you're awakening in that way, then it's just the journey of love, man. Then it's just the journey of how can I give and express as much love as I possibly can? How can I be the embodiment of love in the world and give that and radiate that everywhere, you know, love myself, love people, love my friends, love my family, love the community, love everything that I do, and love every moment of life. And obviously that's not going to be the case every single time, but I feel like a big part of that journey too is like coming into loving yourself, you know. It's like coming back into love. Like,
well,
I feel like that's just fundamentally it.
Yeah, and I just want to backtrack a little bit, because it's like when here we are standing just completely open to the world, totally vulnerable to the world, and it's like we've let go of everything and any ideas and all these things of who we once thought we were. We've dropped all these identities. We just went through the hardest thing that we've ever been through in our life since we were born. Now here we are, and we need to learn how to love this person. So it's like it's been described as like a reparenting, or I'll just use that, right? It's like, okay, here I am. Now it's like I've met that inner child in me, that little boy in me, that pure, innocent one, that man, that brave, courageous one who learned how to grieve, you know, all of that's been through all this stuff. And now how do we continue to nurture that so we can come into like to love that pure, innocent spirit of who we really are? You know, like what practices have you continued to do? You know, how does Ethan continue to fill his cup, to keep his cup full, so that he can walk in that knowing that you are it all? You know, like what is it that you do each and every single day, or you know, whatever, to keep that cup full, so that you can walk in your wholeness, that you can walk in your light and share that love with the world.
Yeah. What do I do? You know, it's...
How do you love yourself?
Yeah.
That's what I'm asking.
Yeah.
In short, how does
for
Ethan
sure.
love himself?
Yeah. Oh yeah, I get the question. It's like, it's like a funny question too, you know, because it's hard, man. Like because like everything is a way of love. Like, you know, like I just feel like really taken there. It's like everything is a way to love myself, and that's really what I'm coming to see. Is like even the things that I once hated and I once pushed away, like those are even forms of love for myself too, because that's helping me in some way, you know. So I want to just be like, for me, like that's why it was tricky for me to answer, because like I could say that I meditate and I meditate. I can say that I journal and I journal. I can say that I do yoga and I do yoga. I can say that I work out or move my body and I move my body. I can say that I ask myself the question, what would love choose next? Or what would love do next in this moment? Like, what would love do? And I could do those things, and that's the way to love myself, you know? Mm-hmm. But then that's also very separate of like, oh, that's the only, like that's, because like, I can do those things to also not love myself, right? Like I can do
as
those.
a distraction.
Yeah, as a distraction that just keeps me busy from dealing with what needs to be dealt with and doing what needs to be done, you know? So it's like, it's very nuanced there in that way because like, and I really just want to drive home that point of like, there comes a point when you just like, it comes back to Martin Prachtel where it's like that an uninitiated man or woman seeks to get love in the world. An initiated man or woman seeks to give love. Yeah, begins to give love.
Yeah.
And it's like the fundamental difference between those two. It's like when you're going through that process of awakening and you're really going through like the dark night of soul, you're really going through hell, you're going through hell, you're going through hell, you're going through hell. Eventually you get cracked open to the place where you begin to experience yourself as love. Mm-hmm. And as that process is happening, now you're transitioning between just complete hell and it's like hell and better, hell and better, hell and love, hell and love, hell and love. And it's like you're kind of dancing between these two parallels where like things are really good and like things are really loving and you feel connected to everything. And then all of a sudden you're back in the depths of suffering. And then it slowly like begins to transition, I think, where you get to the point where everything is just love.
Yeah, this is exactly why I asked you that question because I knew you were going to go there.
Nice,
because you, even those things as we're going through like that hell, slowly. Again, this took. It's an ongoing process.
Yeah.
In some way.
Oh, yeah.
You know, it definitely took a good 5 years for me to like fully begin to start to see that even all of that hardship that I experienced, it too was love.
Yeah.
Right? That was life handing me what life needed to hand me so that I could learn and come to reach a greater understanding through loving myself to actually realize that it's all love.
Which is fun. Like that's like, man, I remember in ayahuasca, I sat with grandmother and there was a point when she came to me and she's a ladybug, you know, and she took me on this beautiful walk. It was like a ladybug, like half caterpillar, kind of like the one in Alice in Wonderland. Like it was between those two. I couldn't really make it out fully in like detail, but it was like just the feeling of it. I was just like being walked and I got to ask the question and like go back through every moment of my life. And the sexual abuse that I experienced, she's like, that's love. And I was like, no, girl, like, no. You know, I was kind of like, I knew that all of it was love, you know, but I haven't experienced it before. And it like took me the moment. It's like, that's love. And I was like, how is that love? Like, how is that love? Because that was the most loving thing that person could do at that time. And I was like, whoa, okay. Then we went into like my mom committing suicide and like that happening and us finding that was love too, because that was the best that my mom could do at that time. That was her greatest expression of love at that time. And it really began to like show me this filter of everything that I thought it was completely wrong. It was just a story that I came up to see and that it was actually just love. And what that was just the hurt and the suffering that everybody's picked up and we're just passing it on to each other until someone has the strength and courage to deal with it, until someone has the strength and courage to stop, to feel all of it, and to get on the other side of it, where we still continue to pass it on to some degree because we're not perfect human beings, but it does dramatically decrease, I believe, after that period of time. But to like get to the point where it's like everything, like every way to love yourself, like everything is a way to love yourself and you're loving yourself in every moment.
It leads me to what Muji says, and this is the real yoga.
Yes.
This is the real yoga.
Yeah.
We awaken to love. And then once we awaken into love, I think this is where we're at. And if we're not, I'm happy to backtrack to wherever. But now we're aware. We're aware of love. We're aware that we are love. And we're aware of our place here in this beautiful world. And that those tumultuous times now no longer last a year. They no longer last a month. They no longer, maybe it depends where you're at and like how you're evolving. But it's like with that level of awareness, knowing that everything is love, it's like, okay, boom. When we get caught, we can snap ourselves out of it quicker. Seeing that almost in the moment, maybe even in the moment. Oh, Dono, slow down, brother. Take a breath.
Yeah.
You're not here.
Yeah.
Okay, here I am.
Yeah.
Back. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's coming into understanding that suffering is love too.
Exactly.
You know, that suffering is love, and suffering is just the forge that one walks through that burns the untruths and burns the illusions and burns everything that we picked up along the way that we haven't processed, and it just brings us back to truth. It brings us back to the simple reminder that we are love, and that is all that's here to share. Is just love in that capacity.
And so it's an everyday thing. This is like where we're at now. This is aliveness.
Yeah, yes.
This is aliveness.
Yes.
Knowing that it's life is going to be full of ups and downs and ups and downs, and if we continue to go after what we want, you know, our true, and what I mean by that is our purest heart's desires. It's not egoical. I'm not chasing things. It's just like, if we go after our true heart's desires, then we are going to continuously be challenged by Creator. Our spirit is going to be challenged each and every single day. And it's just like, that's the ups and downs we're going to experience as we get challenged. It's going to be hard, right? But now we're awake, we're aware to it, we're alive. It's like, okay, cool. We can accept it, and we're navigating it the best way we know how.
Yeah, which I think is a huge part of like, also like that first beginning awakening phase is like, you shared of like, it's not egoic, your heart's, like you're following what it is that you really want to do in the world, you know? It's like you've come to understand what that is, which I think is like really, really beautiful. I was creating a video the other day of like how important it is to understand what you want and to ask yourself that question. And there's a process that first happens of like letting go of everything you think you want, because that's what society, that's what your parents, that's what everybody has drilled into you from the moment you've been born, to like letting go of all of that. Even like, what is success, right? Who defines that, you know? A lot of us are driving towards or reaching for, striving towards success, but we don't even know what that is or where we've got that definition from or how that came to be. But it came from the society in which we're living in. And when we let go of those things and we really allow ourselves to be like, I don't know what I want. I don't know. To be open to be able to say, I don't know, leads us to really getting to know what it is that wants to be created through us.
Exactly.
You know, it's like the difference between this is what I want and this is what the world, this is what God, this is what the universe, this is what it wants through me.
Yes.
I'm just now the vehicle. And it's like, I really love Michael Beckwith, and there's lots of people who have done this, but like they described it as like the first levels of consciousness. It's like the first level is to me. It's kind of like to me consciousness, where you're walking through the world and everything's reactive. It's all happening to me and I'm just going with the flow. It's like my alarm wakes up and then
I'm self-aware.
Yes. It's all just like, it's all to me. And then it leads to by me. And that's willful. That's like, I'm going to do this. I'm going to take control of my life. I'm going to build my life. I'm going to make this happen. I'm going to get success. I'm going to do this.
That's
and then
it's self-aware. Look at me. I'm self-aware.
Yes, very much so.
This is mine. That's mine. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that.
Yes. Yeah. It's all just like by me. And then it gets to the point where it's as me. So then you work, no, is it as me or through me? No, it's through me. It's through me next. So God is happening through me. This is what God wants for me. And then the next stage is as me. And that's as me consciousness is where like I am walking in one with God. It's incorporation. It's when you're at the place where it's like I am love and love is all that's here and we are doing this together.
Beautiful.
You know?
I want to touch on one thing that you mentioned in there. Throughout that process, that somatic experience, how we learn, how we continue to walk alive in that surrendered state to allow God to just flow through us and our creation to flow out of us in that process, is tuning in somatically. Right? It's like I received that text message from a homie just yesterday about the FOMO. It's okay, pay attention to the FOMO. You've awakened.
Yeah.
What's the FOMO how spirit's communicating to us through our emotional body.
Yeah.
So the process is forever somatic.
Yeah.
Forever.
Yeah.
If to know what I want, I need to be curious enough to try new things, and while I'm trying those new things, be tuned into my body, and then afterwards reflect upon them. How did that feel for me?
Yeah.
If
yeah.
it didn't feel good,
Yeah.
then that's not it.
Yeah.
If it felt good,
Yeah.
okay, let's take it another step further,
Yeah.
right? That's the direction that we follow.
Yeah.
And it's not like this.
Yeah.
It's
yeah.
not linear. It's
Yeah.
like this.
Yeah.
It's this beautiful. Have you ever walked through the woods? Do you like a path that's like that? Or how about that little path like this, over the stream, around a big grandmother cedar, oh, there's some flowers there. You're just meandering.
Yeah.
That's the path. But what I'm trying to drive home is we consistently need to tune into our bodies somatically.
Yeah.
That is how we receive direction to eventually come to that individuated way of being, which is it.
Yeah, yeah, which I think is like part of that letting go process of like the hell, like the descent into the darkness, the descent into who you are, the descent into letting go of who you think you are. Like that hell is like that opening process where it's like chaotic and you're thinking like, oh my gosh, this is the hardest thing I've ever been through. I don't think I'm going to make it through this. It's like that process is that. It's like you're letting go of everything. You're letting go of the emotion, the energy, the patterns, like everything that's there so that you can be open to now receiving messages, signals, tunings, feelings, everything in your body. And the more open that you become, the more receptive you become to those things. And it is like, that's the process. That really is it. Is like, right now, it's like, and that's how I viewed meditation for the longest time. Like meditation, it's like the tangled headphones, It's like, that's what I view meditation at first. It's like when you sit down to meditate or when you sit down on the journey, it's like your bodies are kerfuffle. Your body, your mind, and your being are just like, you're just like walking through the world like this. You can't see it because it's all invisible, but your body's like super tight, rigid. You might be experiencing some disease or anxiety or some things are happening in your life. And you're like, what's this? And it's like, you're experiencing that. And then meditation is slowly like unwinding that. You're beginning to empty out, or you can say it as a cup analogy. It's like your cup starts full and it's full of just dark, like shit. It's full of shit that you've picked up over the course of your life, and you slowly just pour it out. And that's what the journey is like the first years are like you're pouring out that cup to make room, and you're making room. You're entangling the headphones to get to a place in which it's your cup is empty or the cord is smooth, and now you're in harmony. Now you're in tune with life, and life will begin to move through you in a really beautiful way. But that process, man, that process can take years. It can take
no different than
years.
the awakening. It is part and parcel of the awakening process. Very much.
Yeah. Oh yeah. That is very much the awakening process. It's like,
it's the difference between doing and being. Like here, of course we're doing things. We're always going to be doing things. Like we're doing a podcast right now. However, like not really.
Yes.
Like we are.
Yeah.
Here we are doing this podcast. Yeah. It's awesome.
Yeah.
But it's not. It requires effort.
Yeah.
But not really.
Yeah.
It's like, hey, this is what I do anyway.
Yeah.
So might as well create something with it.
Yes. Yeah. 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 It's like have, do, be. It's like that paradigm, but flipped. So it's like at first, it's like I'm gonna get this thing, or I'm gonna. How is it? Have, do, be. Oh, I actually forgot that. That's a butcher.
But no, I think that is right.
Yeah. It's like.
I have all these things. Again, it's that whole process. It's self-aware, and then you become aware, and then you become individuated. I have all these things.
Yes.
Then now, okay.
Because I have these things,
now
I'm doing these things. And because I'm doing these things, then I'm being in this way. Like I'm being happier, I'm being fulfilled, or I'm being in this way. But then it's the opposite where it turns to being. I'm going to be, and then because I'm being, doing is happening and having is happening.
Exactly.
It's like instead of having to do those things and doing it backwards, it now just becomes the opposite, where it just becomes an expression of who you are.
We open ourselves up to, I love that you said that. We open ourselves up to receive. Wow. Now we're vulnerable, we're comfortable in our vulnerability, right? And through that, we just create, and things just be more beauty, more abundance. Everything just starts flowing towards us because we then I love, Martin Prechtel's work is just incredible. He's one of my favorite teachers. But through that process, how I view it is we start to feed the life that feeds us. It's the law of reciprocity.
Yeah.
We're no longer just taking. We're taking things, but we're actually, even just this, actually we're not taking things, we're receiving things because we're in harmony now. Just even that shift, take, receive. No, it's like, boom, receiving. Okay, what do I give back?
Yeah.
What does that look like? Whatever. This podcast,
It just
prayer,
happens.
it just happens.
Yeah.
It looks like a whole bunch of different things.
Yeah.
I'm dancing in this world, and through my dance, I am feeding spirit. Spirit loves to see us having a good time, just like it loves to see us on our hands and knees, crying out, grieving, weeping to God. That is feeding the life that feeds us.
Yeah. Yeah, very much so. Like, very much so. And
Where are we at?
where are we at for what?
Well, where are we at?
Where are we at?
Yeah, in this conversation.
I feel like there's a part of me that wants to eventually come back and kind of like summarize each part like a little bit, like just the path and kind of like how that takes. And there's also like just a comment. I feel like I felt I had on that, but you just got to give me a moment. And that's why I was tuning in. I took a deep breath because I wanted just to take a moment just to tune in because I feel like there's something there. I don't know if that's going to come or if that's going to go or how that's going to be, but I just want to take a breath into that. Yeah, okay, so there's just like one example, man, of like you walk down a street and you compliment somebody. How does that compliment impact that person? You know, it's like that person then carries that compliment with them. They feel better. And because they feel better, everyone who they interact with from that moment forward is radically better, you know? And that's what it means to feed the life that's feeding you in that way. Because it's like, and that's how we show up. But it's like, and a lot of people wait to get that, right? We seek that, like, I want that from you, but you won't give it to me, you know? But we don't understand that we are it and we get to give that. And that's the transition, is like when we give that, it's like, then we begin to receive that everywhere, you know, because that's how life, it's the law of reciprocity. That's how life gives in that way. It's like we give what we get and we get what we give.
Yeah, and it's so subtle, like those actions. You mentioned the compliment. That's a beautiful way to describe it. But it's like when we are walking in the way of being, it's just everything we do is that compliment to another.
Yes.
It's like holding, opening that door.
Yes.
You know, going into the health food store and just like you're beaming, right? Because this is just, it's it. You're beaming. You're alive. And how you communicate, right? The music you listen to. It's all. It's all of it.
Yeah, it's all how are you loving yourself? Like every moment is an opportunity to love yourself, you know? And just to give an example of this, like in my life, man, there was a moment, like every ceremony that I do, it's like every ceremony, whether it's ayahuasca, whether it's plant medicines, whether it's a vision quest, whether it's the fire making, whether it is even just like a journey in my own, you know, like every ceremony that I undertake, it's like I just come back to like almost experiencing more love so that I can give more love in the world. It's like I remember there was one time with Lincoln where it's like, I don't know if it was after an ayahuasca ceremony, I think it was, or maybe it was after just like a deep amount of suffering that I was experiencing. It's like I came out of that experience with so much more love to give, like a new level of love to give to everything in my life. And I remember that like I never like really ever like just touched his face and just held his face, because I just never did that. I never thought about doing that because I never really got that as a kid, you know? Like a lot of us are conditioned, we're conditioned to be a particular way, and it's beginning to break through those patterns of conditioning to be able to give love in a different way, right? Like some people are scared of hugs and don't like hugging. And I understand that, yes, I understand that there's something, but what's there? Like what pattern, what happens when that happens? It's like if I go to give a hug, does something happen in my body where I'm feeling a feeling or a sensation now? Is that where does that come from? Does that come from when my dad beat me? Does that come from when somebody touched me or gave me a hug, but then they grabbed my ass? A lot of women experience that, you know? It's like they don't feel comfortable with touch. So it's like, for me, it's like I never got that love. So I was never like, I never had the example of how to love myself though. like or like love Lincoln in that way. So when I came out of that ceremony, I was able to like touch his face and hold his face and just be so much more gentle with him and loving. And so it's like every moment is an opportunity to love yourself. And it's not just the practices of meditation. It is those, yes, those are like anchors. They anchor you back into that every single time. Anything is an anchor. But it's like every moment you can ask, what's the most loving thing that you can do right now? Like,
and sometimes you have to ask, but it reaches a point where it doesn't even, you don't even have to ask yourself that question.
Yes, you just are that.
You're being love.
Yes.
You're just emanent because you know that you're love.
Yes.
But
yeah.
I love what you said, because there are going to be moments we're forever going to get caught and have to pick ourselves up off the ground and take the next step, for sure.
Yeah.
And so it's we reach that point where that you said earlier in the conversation where your cup's empty. And then we love ourselves, we're loving ourselves, we have to anchor back. And then all of a sudden we reach this point where the cup's full and just love is now just pouring out.
Yeah.
It's just everywhere. Everywhere.
Yeah.
And I think, just to touch on what you were saying about the hugging thing, and I'm glad that you went through that, because I think you gave people a really good example of how like the inquiry and this, like as we continue to level up, like we're constantly being challenged and we need to question, we need to have inquiry like this, because it's forever.
Yeah.
Right.
Yes.
Until we die.
Yeah.
And where was I going with that?
I can take it.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's always an edge. Like there's always an edge. Like even on the path of awakening now, it's like now you're over here and let's say you're fully aware and fully awake, and there's still an edge to play in, right? The edge might be creating, the edge might be sharing, the edge might be owning who you are, the edge might be radiating some form of something, you know? There's always an edge. And I think that's the process of creation. It's like the process of life is like you're never ever going to experience potential, right? We talk about potential. It's like you're never ever going to experience like your full potential, I don't think ever. Because it's like when you get somewhere, there'll always be that next vision of where you can be. It's like you land at the mountaintop and you see that there's another mountaintop. And the journey of life isn't about those mountaintops, it's about the experience of who you become in the process. And it's like there's always an edge to meet at. You know, there's always an edge in our life. There's always more love to give and more love to be. Always. But it's not getting hard on yourself for that. You know, it's not like beating yourself up and shaming yourself for it. It's just like, okay, that's just life. Life is like growth. Life is change. Life is evolution. That happens naturally. My son, he didn't have to try to grow taller. He didn't have to try to grow like older in his body and more mature, and he doesn't have to try. That is just happening. And that process doesn't end for us. It continues. We age and we get older, we carry more wisdom, and like that just happens. And it's just then we enter the flow of life. You know, then we just enter life and we allow life to take us wherever we're going. And that doesn't mean that we're not fucking acting or we're not like working on stuff and we're not creating. We're not just like no, we're progressively moving with it, working with it. But it's not like, it's just different. It's just different in that way. It's beautiful.
Yeah. Yeah, I think what we're talking about now is being alive.
Yeah.
Being the experience of aliveness, walking this earth, being human.
Yeah. You get to the point where you are being human.
Yeah.
You know, you're not a human being. You're being human.
Yeah.
And there's such a vast, like the word, it's not a big change, you know? Like to me, when I would have heard that, like when I first started awakening, I would have been like, there's no difference, bro. Like shush up, you know? but now to like understanding that, it's like you're being human. You're being here.
And you signed up for this.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
Get on with that. Like you signed up for this.
Yeah.
So hit it, man.
Yeah, which like is get over yourself in some ways,
Exactly.
you know? It's not all about you. It's not me. It's letting go of that too, you know? It's letting go of like in Jumping Mouse, which we'll share probably eventually. It's letting go of the second I and really landing in the place where you're just walking, you're serving, you're giving.
And so in aliveness, the process, it just never ends.
Yeah.
It's just more subtle now. Like I said, like I alluded to earlier, it's like you don't have to think about it anymore.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
there's not, it's not psychological.
No.
It's just paying attention.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's it. And
Yeah.
having fun.
Yeah.
Doing the things that you love to do.
Yeah. Yeah.
And yeah, there's going to be ups and downs. Yes, I'm going to continue to actively grieve. I'm going to continue to be grateful. I'm going to continue to just do it all. But I'm not going to hold on to it anymore like it's mine. This is life.
Yeah.
It's, we eventually reach the point where we're aware that this is life, and we just drop into this level of acceptance.
Yeah.
Here we are. All right, man.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Yeah. 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 Let's have some fun.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. You move from trying to control everything to letting go of control and being open to life itself.
Exactly.
Which is huge. And that, like, that process is the whole process. You know?
Yeah.
And it just, like you said, it just continues.
Yeah, every day we're doing
Yeah.
what I went through these last 5 or 6 years of my life.
Yeah.
You know, was this huge expanse of time, but not even really. It seems like it is though. But now it's just all of that kind of every day,
Yeah.
right? Just,
Yeah.
oh, this happened. I didn't choose love this time. Okay, I'll just forgive myself.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
You know, oh, okay, I wasn't listening. Oh, here I am. Okay,
Yeah.
cool. You know, it's just that.
Soft, gentle.
Softer, sweeter.
Yeah. You have, I think one of the cool things too is, like, as you grow on that, it's like you have so many stories to share.
Yeah.
There's so much to share from a day. You know, a day becomes not just
A lifetime.
Yes, that's really it, man, because you're experiencing all of it, you know?
Yeah.
It's like, I remember when I first started working with a client of mine, and it's a fun story. It's like I was like, how was yesterday? It's like, well, I don't know, it was kind of good. And that was all that they had, you know? And then to see them a year later be able to share just the story of their life and the story of their day. And it's just like, it's just interesting how that opens, because you're just more aware of things. You're more aware of how your body is and what's happening for you and what's happening all around you. You just grow in awareness, you know, of seeing. It's like life is like, all we see is the tip of the iceberg. But then that's only 5% of the actual iceberg. The rest of the iceberg that's underwater, man, that's
95%
huge. Yes, and you
underwater.
become this, like, it's like as you grow in aware, it's like you become aware of all of that stuff underwater, and you're like, wow, woo, let's go, you know, like, holy smokes, this is so much fun, and it just becomes a beautiful adventure.
Yeah.
Savage, straight up savage, bro. It's the wildest trip ever.
Yeah.
Do you want to summarize kind of like just a little bit of, like, kind of like lay out the land one more time, or are you thinking that's good?
I mean, we can.
Yeah.
You hit it, and I'll just supplement wherever I think
Let's take
wherever
a
I
roll,
think
man.
needs supplementing.
Nice.
To summarize it, yeah.
I wonder what phases we could call them. You know, like, what phases could we call it? I want to call, like,
Well, I think the best way to call it, like, is like, you could use the 4 directions. You could use the rear program examples. You could use Michael Beckwith's examples. That's what it is. It's no
really
more
the
than that.
transitioning of that. Yeah. It's a beginning to understand. Like, the first stage is like, I think it's like you get to the point at which you realize that, okay, there's more to life than what you're experiencing. You know, you just realize that there's more. There's something different. Whatever I'm doing isn't working. It's not producing how I like. It's not producing how I want to feel. I'm not feeling how I want to feel. Life isn't what I want it to be. I'm experiencing cancer. I'm experiencing these crazy things, and there's an awakening. There's a tip of the iceberg, almost like where the cup is, like, the cup's been leaning for quite some time, and then that one thing comes where it's just like, it might be subtle, but it just pours out all the water. And then from there, it's like, you're going through, like, the excavation phase, where you're going through and you're pulling out every part of every experience you've ever been through, all of the pain, all the suffering. It feels like hell. It's a dark night of the soul, where it's just like, it's just suffering and suffering and suffering. You come up for breath once in a while, and you feel joy, you feel connected, and then eventually there begins to be a transition where you begin to be pulled by something. And I think that's the spirit, that's God, that's source, that's a feeling of connection, a feeling of love, a feeling of God, a feeling of oneness, a feeling of, like, there's so many words to describe what that feeling is, but then that begins to pull you almost to the place of you begin to wake up, you begin to see that you are not your thoughts, you begin to see and experience your body, you begin to connect with your body, you begin to reconnect with all of these parts of yourself, getting to the place where you land at incorporation. And or they call it, Carl Jung also called it individuation, where you're an individual being within the whole. And you recognize that you are part of all of it, you are all of it, and now you get to walk in the world from that place, and life just becomes so much fucking fun. You know? Where it's like everything becomes love. Yeah. That's it. That's it, yo. That's it.
I love you, brother.
Love you too, man. Cool. Well, thank you everyone for tuning in. If you guys have any comments, any insights, any tidbits, any takeaways, anything that landed for you, resonated throughout this podcast, please share that in the comments down below. What are you gonna say? Oh, okay, not yet.
Well, what I was gonna say, sorry.
Yeah, hit it.
What I was gonna say is like we just dropped.
Yeah.
But this is episode. You know,
this is 3 months in the future. We're live. Yeah. So
But-
every episode drops Tuesday from here on out.
But share, because we do have the socials now and stuff. You could share that.
Yeah, okay, yeah. We're live on socials. We're going to drop on YouTube every Tuesday at 11 o'clock, and on podcast, Spotify as well. It'll load and upload for the next episode to be on 11 a.m. Apple, it's just waiting to be submitted, so it will be there eventually, so people can listen to it and tune in
So
that way.
YouTube, Spotify, Apple soon.
Yeah.
At every Tuesday, 11 PST.
Yeah, 11 a.m. PST, and then we are live on socials as well. So we're on Instagram and TikTok at We Are Being Human. Yeah, We Are Being Human, so make sure to follow us there. And yeah, just drop any comments, anything that came up for you. And I'd also love to know, like, where are you in that journey? Like, where do you see yourself, or where would you paint or picture yourself, or where would you put yourself on that timeline of what you're going through and what your process is? I think other than that, it's like, peace out, bruh.
Yeah, I love you guys.
Yeah, I love you guys too.